Haley and the woman's issue of our time. All that and more now on Graph's Grievances. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley leaning hard into the culture wars as she desperately tries to boost her fledgling presidential campaign. Haley not only attacking transgender youth, but declaring the quote, women's issue of our time is biological boys playing in girls' sports. Haley also falsely saying that transgender girls in sports are leading to suicidal ideation among teenage girls. Haley telling CNN, quote, how are we supposed to get our girls used to the fact that biological boys in their locker rooms? And then they wonder why a third of teenage girls seriously contemplated suicide last year? These comments not only transphobic, but also entirely false. While numerous studies have shown a stark rise in girls considering attempting suicide, no connection has ever been shown between suicidal ideation and the existence of transgender youth or their participation on sports teams. In fact, the CDC has found that LGBTQ students are more likely to have seriously considered, planned, and attempted suicide than their heterosexual peers. As for the quote, women's issue of our time, on what planet is Nikki Haley living? How about the Supreme Court of the United States casting aside 49 years of precedent to take away the right of women to obtain an abortion? Not to mention the explosion of abortion restrictions that have been passed across America since the Dobbs decision, resulting in 14 states now banning the medical procedure outright. But even if you are supportive of the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe, as Haley says she is, what about sexual harassment and rape? 1 in 5 women in the U.S. experienced, completed, or attempted rape during their lifetime. This horrific stat from the National Sexual Violence Resource Center. Why doesn't Haley consider this the women's issue of our time? The 51-year-old daughter of Indian immigrants has had a remarkable history-making career. At just 38 years old, she was elected governor of South Carolina, becoming the first woman and first person of color to lead the state. Haley would go on to be the first Indian American in a presidential cabinet when Donald Trump asked her to be his UN ambassador. This experience might lead you to think that Haley could even consider the gender wage gap and the lack of women in boardrooms and C-suites to be the women's issue of our time. Surely Haley must know that women earn, on average, only 82% of what men earn for doing the same work, according to Pew Research. This outrageous gender wage gap remaining stable in the U.S. over the past 20 years. As for women in C-suites, the numbers are terrible. Only 9% of CEOs in the S&P 100 are women. The traditional CEO feeder roles of CFO and COO show significant underrepresentation of women, according to Harvard Law School, which makes the path towards CEO that much more difficult. And one might ask why, as a white man, I am suggesting to Nikki Haley what issues might really be the quote, women's issue of our time. The reason: men can and should be part of the solution. I want my mother and sister and all the women in my life to have an equal opportunity to reach their fullest potential. It is disgusting that someone as smart and groundbreaking as Nikki Haley would demonize and lie about transgender people for political gain and try to pit women against transgender Americans. Thanks for watching Graph's Grievances. Let me know what you think and please subscribe.